Hey everyone, good evening, namaskaram, vanakkam. So we spoke about employee experience in the previous session. So now I'm going to talk about what your employees are actually using, right? So this session is going to be about our email and collaboration apps that your employees use across to get work done, be productive, be collaborative, and things like that. Just to read the room, how many of you use any of these products? Zoho Mail, Zoho Work Drive, all of you? Amazing. So I'm going to give you a lot of new updates that you can use probably in a couple of months. Raj spoke about it earlier today as well, some of the agentic stuff that we're announcing. So over the past couple of decades, we've built world-class, I very, very proudly say that we've built really, really world-class products right from 2005. The first ever Zoho product itself was an Office suite that we started off with. Ever since that, we actually built world-class products across productivity, collaboration, and communication apps that people can use at work to get more productive, your emails, to the Office suite. Like how many more vendors do you know actually has an entire Office suite there, right? Probably one, probably two. So that's the kind of thing that Zoho has been, like our campaign itself says that it takes time. We've been at this for a really, really long time, a couple of decades. So we've built world-class products across all of these categories. If you'd like to use all of this at once, we've also built another world-class suite called Zoho Workplace. Basically lets you use all of this in a single subscription. I met a lot of you who are looking to migrate from something like a Google Workspace or a Microsoft 365. So this is your alternative right here. I'll explain what we're doing in these suite of products. Right from the government of India across the country, to manufacturing companies, to economic or financial services companies, to MNCs like multinational companies that function across the world. We're really proud to say that we power India's most important offices out there, the really important offices across the country runs on Zoho's email and Office suite. So if you're really serious about your office, make sure you switch to Zoho. Okay, so I've met a lot of you in the morning at the Expo Center talking about workplace, looking to move out from your Microsoft and Google licenses and things like that. You asked me this question. A lot of you asked me this question as to, hey, what is different between what makes Zoho different compared to what's the differentiation there? Why should I move from my existing stack to the Zoho stack? Of course, the first ever thing I would mention that's not here would be the Zoho integration itself. So your CRMs, your desks, all the other products work by default with Zoho's product. That means you receive an email from a customer, you get to look into all the important details of that particular desk instances, the support tickets that person has given you, the CRM information, whether this person is a customer, add this as a customer in CRM, things like that, directly from Zoho Mail. Of course, our Office suite, the document collaboration system also works with your CRM so that every time you get a lead, it's actually copied and saved as a folder in Zoho Work Drive and things like that. But apart from that, the goal is really to give you the most flexible collaboration platform out there. What that means is that it still gives you the option to choose between a mail-only option and the entire collaboration suite as an option within the same company. Say you have 10,000 people in the same company, rather than giving them entirely the same plan across in terms of storage, in terms of the products they want to use. Say you have 5,000 people who are just your frontline workers. They are in different branches across the country, probably in remote areas. They really don't need an entire Office suite or the collaboration suite. They just need an email with a smaller domain with the smallest size of storage. You can do that, mix that with the rest of the companies. You give them the smallest span within the same organization, and then give the rest of the company the entire collaboration suite. So we give flexibility in terms of how you want to mix and match and optimize your spend. So that's another differentiation that we do. And off the shelf, the moment you move, it actually around the cost of 60% of your IT spends is removed from the billings for your invoices across your accounts as well. So that's another thing that makes Zoho Workplace different. But then as Indians, if that's not, convincing enough, we always look for it, what's next, right? When you're single, people ask you, hey, when are you getting married? When you're married, people ask, hey, when are you getting your first child? When you get your first child, people ask you, when are you getting your second child? And things go on. So always we're looking into what's next, what we're doing next, next in terms of updates and things like that. So obviously, this is where AI comes into the picture for the suite of products that we are in. Before I get into the actual updates of what we're doing in terms of AI and these products, let me take a step back and give you some fundamentals as to how or what is really happening in terms of AI, in terms of your office workplace productivity and things like that. Let's take an example, okay? All of us order food online, Swiggy, Zomato, and things like that, right? Say you're ordering it for yourself. Say, I'm just asking you, sir. You're ordering food for yourself on Swiggy, okay? How much time would that take you? Like 3 minutes, 5 minutes? Yeah. Now imagine if you're ordering for the entire floor, okay? There's a lot of people in your floor and the entire group of people. How much time would that take for you? 15 minutes? How much stress is there on you? A lot more, right? So AI, in the sense, is actually something similar to this. So when you say AI is taking the world in a revolution, there's a lot of things happening, it's mostly the personal AI that we're actually talking about. Okay, so you use your ChatGPTs, your Anthropics, your Geminis, and things like that. You log into it, you give it prompts, you start using it within your, for your workflows, you generate content. It's entirely up to your preferences. However you want to do, you choose whichever tool you want to choose, like the way you order food, right? But the moment you're bringing that as part of your productivity, as part of your employee experience or collaboration experience within the company, this is where enterprise AI kind of differs from the personal AI space. This distinction is very important to understand, okay? So there's suddenly, like how you order food for the entire floor, you have to look into dietary preferences, so that you have to look into what people actually like to use. You have to look into the data restrictions as to, hey, how are these vendors processing my data. You have to look into legal compliances, SOPs, and things like that as to whether, hey, if I use this particular vendor, how compliant I am still in my particular space, in my particular industry, and things like that. For these kind of reasons, what we've believed or we've seen in the industry is that AI adoption has been pretty slow. Okay, though people use it for their personal productivity in terms of personal AI, enterprise AI adoption has been pretty slow across the offices, across the customers that we speak to. What people say is that, hey, there is a privacy restriction. What does AI do with my data? There's a compliance restriction that I said, hey, what if I do this? So this is probably, if you're just coming here to implement AI into your company, this is probably the most important slide I would say that you should look into. Right? Before implementing, make sure you have all of these guardrails set up pretty well. My favorite part is on the fourth one down there, which says human intervention. What if the AI does irreversible damages to my company? What if it just, as an agent that comes in, sends an email to a vendor or a partner, orders some 10,000 things that you really don't need, and causes a lot of cost on you, right? So what if that happens? So these are the guardrails that you have to put in before implementing AI. So at Zoho's side, what we've done is we have a very measured approach as to how we're going to bring these to your things that you use. So mind you, these are the apps that are probably the most important data of your company, right? Your emails, your documents. So we have a really, really measured approach to this unless which we are probably playing the risky game. So we are always going to give you an option to choose between the Zoho LLM that we probably, you would have heard earlier today. Mani spoke about it, Sridhar spoke about it. So we're coming up with our own LLM to kind of run all of these ZIA features. To run those ZIA features, you'll obviously get an option between a Zoho LLM and a third-party LLM out there. Probably it's like OpenAI, Gemini, and things like that. Along with that comes the models that you want to choose as well. Say you have a custom model on GPT-4 or Gemini Pro or things like that. If you want to bring that as part of your company's AI implementation strategy, you can do that as well. So we're always going to give you that particular option as well. My favorite one, again, assist, don't bypass. Basically, we're always going to come to you for approval before the AI kind of does irreversible damage. Say I'm cleaning up my, probably after, sometime later, I'm going to talk about a cleanup agent that cleans up your email inbox and makes it, more aligned to your storage needs. Once that does that, when it does that, it actually is going to come to you and look into your approval, without which it's never going to delete your email. So such is the kind of approach that we're taking, which says, hey, assist, but don't bypass the actual human in front of the computer. So with this, we are announcing a lot of useful, practical applications of both generative AI and agentic AI in a lot of our products in this particular category. Before probably I get into what we're announcing latest, I want to know, because the space is moving so fast, right? I want to know what's actually happening. So let me take a step back. How many of you actually use any of our AI, which is the OpenAI integrations that we've announced last year, in any of these products, in WorkDrive, in Click, in Zoho Mail, and the others? Sales IQ, I don't like that product. I'm just kidding. That's yeah, amazing that you use Sales IQ as well. Zoho CRM, okay. Any of the collaboration suite of products that you use? Yeah, yes, sir. Got it. So you were raising your hand there. Zoho Mail, what do you use it for? Summarize, awesome. Got it, amazing. So let me give you, for the others who didn't, who are not using it or are not aware of what we've done so far. We've done things across the products in the collaboration suite, starting from email generation that you can just give a prompt, regenerate it, move the style as for however you want. You can summarize emails, as Sir was just talking about. You have a long thread of people, 10 different, 15 different emails in one particular thread. You can summarize all of that at once and say, hey, this person said this person said this was decided, and this is what is going to be the future course of action. You can do the same in chat. It's one of my favorite features ever. So if you just get added to a particular channel, instead of asking people, hey guys, what's going on? Why am I added to this channel? So doing that, you can summarize what's happened in the channel in the past 30 days, in the past 1 year, who said what was decided, and things like that. So you're getting up to speed. You can do the same thing with presentations in the Office suite. So you can generate an entire presentation. Please don't assume that this presentation was created using AI. It didn't. So if you want to do that, if you want to get that head start, you can do that as well. So you just say, hey, create a comparison between Zoho Mail and Gmail and things like that, and give me a 5-slide pointer. Before you're getting into a meeting, you can do that with Zoho Show. Same with spreadsheets as well. One of my favorite features, very, very interesting feature. What it does is that you have a paper with a tabular form of data that's there. You just take a picture, upload that into Zoho Sheet. It actually converts that into a particular, like a really, really usable spreadsheet that you can start working on and developing after that. You can do this in Zoho WorkDrive. You can do this to generate original images if you want. So if you don't want to use any of the existing ones out there, you have a very particular idea of how you want it, you can do that. Talking about images, you can actually extract image or text out of an image and then send it to a designer. If you're working on a design, you have a mock with the text on it. Now, if you want to actually extract all the text out of it and then send it to the designer, you can do that on Zoho Click. Talking about meetings, of course, you will have the OpenAI-powered transcripts and keynotes every time that's generated after you do a meeting on both Zoho Meeting as well as Zoho Click. This is probably a very peculiar thing, a very Zoho thing to do. So I'm not sure a lot of other vendors have spoken about this. I've spoken to a couple of you today about PDF forms, what Zoho Writer does as well. So here what we're using is we're taking AI to convert all your existing paper forms, right? So you have your paper form, that is your traditional forms that people fill in. You take a photo of that, convert that into a PDF, upload that into Zoho Writer. It now uses AI to kind of read and understand what are the fields out there, which of these would be possible fields out there, and convert those into fillable fields so that you can share it as a fillable PDF out there in your company, so that people actually convert that into PDF forms. Right? So that we've done AI to use things like that. So now coming back to the future, this is what we are announcing today. Mind you, these are very, very early previews. We are not available. So if you're looking to subscribe to any of these products, I'm going to promise you this is not available. A lot of these are not available right now. It's coming very soon, so I'm not going to sell you, all the fake stuff. You say, hey, Rakib, you said this is not, this is coming, and when is it, and all that. So it's coming later this year, probably in the September, October timeframe, not right now, okay? So just keep that in mind. Let's start off with Mail. With Mail, we're doing 3 different things. We're doing agentic stuff to help you create emails better. I'll explain how that works. To help you manage your inbox better, and also secure inbox, okay? For a change, let me start off with the rightmost thing. I'm going to explain all of these scenarios like how Raj did in the morning with fictional characters that I have in my mind, who are the actual proposed users like you and me, who have problems in the companies, and how we'll solve all of these using AI. So meet Aishwarya. She's an IT administrator like a lot of you. Her role really is to look out for all the socially engineered attacks that people might come and do on their data, your phishing attacks, your social engineering attacks, and things like that. Her job is to really watch out for all of those attacks and then make sure the company data is safe. What really keeps her up night? I like this transition which she goes from the smile to the frown. So what really happens, or what really keeps her up at night is all the different types of attacks that are there. Okay, so the moment you think, hey, I figured out what phishing is, there's something else that comes up. There's an impersonation thing. The moment she figures out what impersonation is, there's another spam attack that's coming out and things like that. There's also another zero-day attack that might come up, that's entirely out of syllabus for her. To help some people like that, what we are announcing earlier today, Raj spoke about this as well, is something called a threat mitigation agent. Okay, so what it basically does is that it monitors your inbox. Mind you, Zoho Mail already has a really good anti-spam engine. So what it does is basically it scans beyond that. It also looks out for any anomalies out there. Okay, hey, this kind of thing looks different from all the other emails. So it identifies these patterns. It identifies that, hey, this might be a possible threat, that there's either a malware, there's either a zero-day thing, which is not there in Zoho's anti-spam database already. So it looks into all of those using some kind of an AI algorithm. It converts them into an incident, immediately lets the system administrator know, hey, there's been an incident, this probably is a zero-day attack. It looks into whether it probably has an attachment or things like that. It neutralizes those by moving into quarantine, and then it repeats the same thing in the future. So as soon as this thing happens, you get an email from the ZIA security agent that says, hey, there's been an incident. There's probably a zero-hour malware attachment that's there, that's circulating in your company. This is probably the security level. It's very critical. It's medium. It tells you that. And also tells you what it did. So as soon as the email was delivered, ZIA has identified the risk. It also has sent the notification to the super admin. Along the same time, it also tells you who downloaded this, who reported, the good souls who reported this, the naughty ones who downloaded the actual malicious attachment and things like that. And then you can send an email from the same system back to those people. So Raj spoke about it earlier today. We're making it even better by announcing another agent. We are calling it the phishing simulation agent. How many of you have used phishing simulation of any kind before? No one? Lovely. So let me explain how this works. So you're basically creating a fake attack on your company using another email that kind of looks like something else. You're looking at whether your company is ready to face such attacks that come in the future, but it's all instigated by you internally. So it's something that you're looking out to test whether it's, consider this as a fire drill for your entire email system, right? So basically what it does is that it gathers phishing scenarios. It says, hey, probably create a credential harvesting email phishing scenario that says he collects people's email addresses and passwords, saying by probably creating a fake login page, probably a Zoho meeting page or like a Zoom page and things like that. And it creates a realistic email that goes out to it and say, hey, Rakib, you've been tagged in this particular email. Let me show you that screen. There you go. So it says, here, you're invited to join this particular group out there. Do you want to create an account here? You create on that, you also kind of generate a landing page that looks similar to an existing landing page out there. So you can enter your email addresses. So you're looking into whether people are actually falling for such attacks or not. All of this, mind you, is generated by GenAI, by ZIA itself. So you're not actually manually sitting and creating all of these HTMLs out there. You can definitely regenerate or edit this particular HTML to suit however you want. And you send it out to them, to the entire company. So once this happens, you can actually watch out for how many people fall prey to this attack that you yourselves instigated. And then once there are people who's actually falling into this, you look into the number of people who's falling into such attacks, you send them training content. Hey, you send them awareness material to kind of, you can upload your own videos or your PDF files and all to Zoho Mail as a training material. Then you can send them material so that they get aware of all of these different phishing attacks. So the agentic part, what comes in here is that you can actually repeat the entire thing automatically until your company has zero attack or zero praise to any of these attacks. Right? That's the most important part. Creating those landing pages, yes, that's good. But you can actually repeat this saying that so that, hey, repeat the entire thing for another 1 year, for another 6 months, until there is zero praise to this particular attack. So that's what the phishing agent does in Zoho Mail. Let's move on to managing your inbox. So like I said, we are announcing a new cleanup agent. Let's show you how that works. So for this case, we have Isaac. So he's a product manager. So it's a really big week before, he works in a startup. He has a big launch coming up. It's a really big week before a product launch that he has up next. His problem is basically he goes into his emails, like a lot of us, he can't really figure out what the emails are, the important emails are. Its inbox is kind of filled up with marketing materials, your newsletters, your unwanted emails and things like that. To help people like him, we're announcing the cleanup agent. So what basically does is that, again, it keeps scanning your inboxes. All the agents in Zoho Mail would do that from now. It identifies by using a lot of parameters, whether on behavior of whether you have been communicating with that person enough, have you been opening their emails or leaving them on unread, what are the content of that particular email, and also how much storage it takes, right? So considering all of these, it comes up with a cleanup plan, but it says, hey, these are emails that possibly you might not need. Do you want to delete this? Let me create a cleanup plan for you. And then once you says, yes, I don't need these kind of emails, it repeats the same thing for you sometime next time, probably a couple of months later. If the same pattern is repeating, you can actually, it comes up with another cleanup plan, then repeats it for you as well. Let me show a quick demo of this. Wait for the video to load. Of course. It's not loading. It's loading here though. Okay, that's weird. It's loading here, but it's not loading there. Ah, there you go. So very soon, you're going to get these pages that says ZIA agent that lists all the agentic stuff that we do in Zoho. So as soon as I click on the cleanup agent, he says, hey, are you ready to tidy up your email? Like, yes. So because I am a Zoho employee and I get plenty of storage from Zoho, I'm not using a lot of my storage from in the account, but I can still do a proactive thing and clear out all the other emails that I have. So it says, hey, these are probably the ones that you might not need. Of course, Neha from ClearTax is there. How many of us know that as well? So all of these emails, you can probably choose if you want to delete all of them at once, or if you want to delete just the recent ones from them. Like, yes, delete all of these. So this is where the agentic part now comes in. So, hey, I've done this. I'll let you know when the cleanup job is completed. But if you want me to complete, or if you want me to keep this going, you teach me how your cleanup routine is. If you just selected as what your cleanup routine is, you can tell me that. I'll monitor your storage health. And as soon as the health kind of goes into a moderate or a critical stage, it's going to come up with a cleanup plan again. The similar thing based on what you've just given the input. And based on that, it comes up with a cleanup plan. It comes to you again for approval. You said, hey, yes, I don't need all of these. And it finally deletes it. Like I said, it is always going to come up to you with for suggestions, and it's going to come up with the the cleanup plan. Cool. Now let's move to the creation part. So here is where the agentic part kind of comes into a little distinction between what is the difference between a writing agent and a writing assistant. So we've seen Gen AI that actually creates email content, summarize email content, and things like that. So with writing agent, what we're doing is that as soon as it writes an email content, based on what you've just created, it also understands whether it has another thing that you probably need, probably a follow-up, probably a reminder that you need. It understands the context of what you've just created, and it comes up with a suggestion. It's to say, hey, you probably need this as a reminder. You probably are not available. It also looks into your calendar, appointments, and things like that, your Zoho people data, and then comes up and says, hey, yes, you've generated an email that says, let's meet on this particular date. but you're not actually available on that date because your Zoho calendar says something else. Let's see how that works. I hope this demo works this time. Yes, there you go. So you go to Writing Agent, you say, hey, how may I help you? So I'm probably giving it a prompt that says, we have some VIP guests coming to our office on the 26th of July. Write an email to the admin team saying, hey, do this and set it up for the lunch and accommodation and things like that. So apart from just generating the content up top, because it understands that there is a date involved, that is 26th of July, it actually asks you to set up a reminder. It says, hey, do you want me to follow up with them so that they don't forget about it because you have VIP guests coming in. It's a pretty big thing and things like that. So it does that and then regenerates the email again based on that that particular date. So you have 26th coming up, it sends a follow-up, it creates a follow-up email automatically and comes to you whether you want to send it or not. It works on a reply side as well. So you're getting an email that says, hey, this is probably from me. I'm in Bengaluru. I'd love to meet you. Are you available on this particular date? If it was just the generative AI part, it would have done what we just see on top. But because it is also connected with your other Zoho apps and your Zoho Calendar, Zoho People, appointments and things like that, it actually comes up with a suggestion that says, hey, you probably are not available. Your Zoho People or Zoho Calendar conflict says that you're not available on this particular date. Do you want me to regenerate this thing with another available appointment? And you say yes, it generates it again as well. So that's Writing Agent. Let me switch to Zoho WorkDrive. So with WorkDrive, earlier we announced Zia Hub. So what we're doing is it's going through a very transformational change with AI. So we are using AI to kind of transform file storage itself. We're transforming WorkDrive as a platform to just throw in files, organize files, and things like that, to move it to a content intelligence platform. What that means is that every data that you put in is kind of actually becoming an insight for your company. So based on everything that you drop into the company, WorkDrive is going to understand what kind of files it is, what kind of data it is you're dropping into. And it's going to create a shared insight or shared understanding of your company and then let you ask questions to it and things like that. So that's what Zia Hubs does. So with Zia Hubs, we are actually moving Zoho WorkDrive from a content management platform to a content intelligence platform. Right? What does that mean? So you create something like a hub, which is basically another folder within Zoho WorkDrive. It is a specialized folder. You drop all the files related to a particular incident or particular specialization into a hub. Zia indexes all of these file content and things like that within that. It understands it. It reads through your files and understands and creates a knowledge base by itself. Once the indexing is done, you can actually start asking questions to Zia, right? So you're like, hey, what about this? What about that? And then the most interesting part for me is that it also finds the exact locations of where it took that information from. So it gives you different chunks, and then you can create and click on that. It goes to the exact location. Say you have a PDF, it goes to the exact location of that particular PDF so that you can actually share it. You can probably manually verify it and then share it with someone else. Let's go through some couple of examples. So meet Rehan. So he's a support executive. So despite having a lot of training materials, knowledge bases, and YouTube videos and things like that with him, he's still finding it a lot difficult to spot answers and give his customers a lot of different answers because he's new, he wants to understand, he still doesn't know a lot of things. So what he can do is go into something like, let me see if this works. Yeah. Something like a WorkDrive support team hub. So this is the hub that I was talking about. You create a Zia hub. Let's call it Zoho WorkDrive support for now. So you drop in all your related materials, whether it's getting started, your training materials. Mind you, these are not just a single format. This is multi-modal. That means you can drop in your images, you drop in your videos, your audio calls, your call recordings from your support team, and things like that. You drop in all of them, index it with Zia. As soon as Zia indexes it, what happens is that you can start asking questions to it. Say I'm asking, hey, what are the upload limitations in Zoho WorkDrive? And it's going to come up based on all the files that you've dropped in. It's going to come up with an answer, a summarized answer. And then also, like they said, the interesting part is the chunks within it, right? So it's going to locate the exact part where this information is being derived from. Maybe if it's from multiple sources, it will do that as well in this particular case. And then now you can share this particular file to your customer. Similarly with Rani, so this is an internal use case. Say she's a junior developer who's just starting out in a company like Zoho. What she can do is go into the town hall Zia hubs. Probably a lot of companies, a lot of you would have these calls with your, with your employees. You record all of them, put them in a hub. Zia will index them. Again, this is all videos that we're talking about, not just PDFs. Once that's there, she can start asking questions like, hey, what are the technical challenges that Zoho itself is facing in terms of implementing AI? So rather than just give them one particular answer, it looks through across all of those videos, understands that, hey, this has been the common problems the CEO is talking about in terms of implementing AI, and what are the sources and things like that. Again, the chunks work here as well. So this is from our own internal Sridhar's town hall. So it goes to the exact locations of where Sridhar is talking about the difficulties that Zoho itself is having in terms of implementing AI. So that's the brilliance of Zia Hubs. It's very soon going to come to all of your subscriptions. We are working on it. We are also working on supporting our own native files, which means Zoho Writer, Zoho Sheet, and Zoho Show files will also start getting indexed into Zia Hubs. We are not there yet. So once that's done, that's also done. That's the magic that kind of creates, because it all starts as soon as you update a file, the hub is also, the knowledge base is also updated. Awesome. One final thing, I know it's time for me to go into the next session. We have an amazing session on Zoho projects with an amazing couple of customers waiting out there. If you're saying, hey, Rakib, all of this is fine, but I really need something that kind of connects all of these as an orchestration platform, okay? I have an AI for my meetings, I have an AI for my mails, I have an AI for my documents. Is there an AI that can actually cover or do things across all of these apps? Let's say I need something that says, find me recent emails from Zilker Travels, summarize them into a document, and share it with Paula. This is a very, very simple use case that I have, but for now, we use multiple tools to do this, right? So your recent emails has to come from your Zilker Travels. Your document is probably in Zoho Writer, and also to share it with another person, you have to use Zoho WorkDrive, and finally send that as a message on Zoho Click. Of course, your AI level has to come in between to summarize all of this information. So to do this, we are announcing something called Ask Zia for Workplace. So this is going to come into Zoho Workplace's interface that kind of connects across all of these apps. So what it does is that as soon as you give a query, it's going to search across all of these products. It's just not a single product search. It's going to search across multiple products, also summarize information across multiple products, and then execute a chain of action from one product to another, and then finally share it with someone else. Let's see that in action. I hope this works. There you go. So it says, hey, I'm going to say, fetch me emails from Zilker, summarize them, create a document with it, and then share it with someone else. So it's loading. So it's looking for, wow. Yeah, so it's looking for emails. Yes, we did find a couple of some recent emails out there. It's summarizing all of those into text materials. It says here, this is email 1, this is email 2, this is what happened in the last few weeks. Not a great introduction to AI. Yeah, there you go. It also converts that into a writer document. So it pastes all of those content into a writer document. And it's waiting, like I said, assist, don't bypass, right? It's waiting for you to confirm which Paula. It already knows, or within the information that it gave you, you have it with them. It already knows this might be the Paula that you want to share it with. But it also comes up to get a confirmation from you. And then finally go there. And the actual chat is right there. Right? Amazing, right? So you imagine the number of products it bypassed, or the number of time that actually took to do all of this across all of these products. So that's the magic of Zoho, I believe, what we can do in the future. That's about it. So if you're looking into availability of all of these products, like I said, don't hold me up for this. We are expecting to release all the security agents, which is the threat mitigation agent and the phishing simulation agent in September. Same is the case with cleanup agent and writing assistant. I'm not sure what the deal with Zoho Mail team, which is my own team, and September is, but that's when we are all releasing it. Also, the workplace assistant is stated to come in September. The notebook AI stuff that Raj spoke about earlier today is already available. If you're a Zoho One user, you can do it right without an additional payment. Zia Hubs, we're expecting to release it the end of this quarter. That's about it. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, I love to take it. But we have two amazing customers, and we have a very angry Sharon out there, expecting me to go off stage. But I'd love to connect with you, all of you. If you just want to probably send me an email, it's just rakib@zohoworkplace.com. If you can just probably note down my email and send me questions about any of these features. Let's do that as a cheat code instead of taking questions right now. Okay? Thank you so much.
A round of applause for Rakib.